Hello and welcome to Wisdom Bites. Hope you're well. Thank you once again for joining us. Very much appreciated. Now in today's packed program, I'm going to show you a unique method of predicting the top and the bottoms of the Bitcoin cycles. No one has shown you this chart on any YouTube channel ever, so you're going to be pretty blown over by this. I mean, this chart is obviously very commonly used, but the method I was using, I've been looking at the charts for a while and I came across this method which seems to fit in. Obviously anything can happen with Bitcoin, but it's just something for interest purpose only, and it gives us a guidelines as to exactly where the next top and the next bottom is going to be. Secondly, I'm going to show you the Bitcoin short-term chart and set the Bitcoin target prices for February. A quick insight into Ethereum and why we are about to go to this target price level here from where we are now. Finally, I'm going to show you a crypto chart which is about to go to the moon in the next few weeks. If that sounds interesting, then without further ado, and before we get cracking, click that like button, subscribe if you're new, and before I get into the charts, the usual disclaimer: all our videos are for educational purposes only. Please do your wider research before making any investment decisions. I'm not a financial advisor. Okay, with that out of the way, let's finally get cracking with the weekly Bitcoin chart. Okay, so this is the BLX Bitcoin chart on the weekly time frame. And as you can see, there's just a lot of lines here. But what I've done is I've actually drawn the tops of the 2013 bull market through the 2017 bull market and extended it to the current target where it is here. This is one of the reasons how I got my target of 300,000. So it's from the top of the 2013 market to the top of the 2017 market. And the timeline obviously is part of the 4-year cycle. So as you know, with Bitcoin, we started in 2010, and at the end of 2013, we got our first blow off top at the end of 2013, exactly 4 years from the start of the market. Then 4 years later, we got our second blow off top at $20,000 at the end of 2017. And the current cycle, which runs to the end of 2021, is where we're expecting the next top of the bull market. This is how we got our target of 300,000, because that's where the lines were leading us to. It doesn't mean we have to play to the narrative, but it gives us a good guidelines as to approximately where we're going to be topping out. And today I'm going to show you, by using a few trend lines, where I think the market could possibly go. Obviously, this is just for interest purposes, but it does give us a good guideline. So for instance, if I home in on the first bull market cycle, so what I've done is, from the bottom of this first cycle, which is here, I've drawn this trend line connecting the second top of that cycle. So this was the first top, and I've taken it to the second top here. And then I've taken it all the way through, connected to this trend line from the first bull cycle through to the second bull cycle at the end of 2017. What I've done also is I've taken this arc, this blue arc, as you can see, and I've used this as a trajectory of that cycle to see where it may top off and where it connects to that trend line here. If you want to get this arc, very, very simply, all you've got to do is go to this brush here. And if you go down here, you'll see that there's an arc there. And what it does is it gives you this sort of drawing. You can move these lines wherever you want to fit in with the price actions. So that's what I've done. I've just taken the trajectory, as you can see, through the bottoms of these price actions, and it culminates in the top of the market. So if you take the bottom of the first cycle through to the second top and draw the line all the way up, if you take the curve from the bottom of this cycle here and try to just meet up the curve of this, the trajectory, what it does is it gives us a top around about here. And obviously this is our first top. If you do the same for the second cycle, you'll find something very similar. So you take the bottom here of this cycle and you draw the blue line, let me make it bigger for you, and you follow the trajectory of the bottoms of the price action and meet it with this trend line here from the top of this market to this one here, you'll find that it fits in quite well. Obviously at the time there was no trend line, but now that we've got the price action, and as we know with Bitcoin, the past chart patterns have a habit of being very, very similar. They rhyme with the past. So this is why I'm showing you this, that if you take the bottom of the market, you take the trajectory of this blue line from the bottom of this market here and take it to the bottoms of the price action and meet this trend line here, and you'll find that by drawing this yellow line here, not to the first top but to the second top, just like we did with this one here, the first cycle, not to the first but the second top, you'll find that it gives you a very good guidance as to where the market may top off. Right at the top of this arc here, just like this one here. So if we now go to the current cycle, do exactly the same. If we take the market to the bottom of the previous low here that we got in the COVID-19 situation, if we take the COVID bottom here as the bottom of our market here and draw this white and draw this yellow line through the second top, not the first one here, the second top, it takes us to this trend line here that we've drawn. And with the curve following the trajectory so far, it looks quite plausible that we're going to top off around about here, around the August time. And that marries up very, very clearly with the exit indicators, the pi cycle that I showed you in the last few videos. Now, where are we here is around about August. So our target obviously is around the 300,000 mark around here. But this method is telling us that we're going to top off around about the 240, 250,000 mark. Only time will tell, but I just thought this was quite interesting that if you follow this principle of actually taking the arc to know where we're going to end up, as well as taking the yellow trend line through the second top of that cycle, it gives us a very good indicator as where we may top off in the current cycle here. So again, this is marrying up quite nicely with our previous prediction that we're going to get to around about the 300,000 mark, but if we do top off a bit earlier, like in August, it may be that we get to only 240, 250,000 per Bitcoin. Only time will tell, and we just have to wait and see what happens. But I thought this might be quite interesting for you. If you found that interesting, then hit the like button and subscribe if you're new. People often ask me about the why I've got this line drawn here, and it's very simple. Since Bitcoin came into the market here in 2010, then the first cycle was the first 4-year cycle that we've been talking about. And that culminated in the top of the market here, there. So it took 4 years from 2010 to the end of 2013 as the first 4-year cycle. And then 4 years on, we topped out exactly in December 2017. And that was the second 4-year cycle. So as you can see, we're going through 4-year cycles here, and obviously the next cycle, it doesn't mean that it's going to stick to that, but for the purposes of organizing our investments, this does give us a very good timeline and allows us to make decisions better. The next 4-year cycle will hopefully come to the end over here. Also, I've been showing you this pi cycle chart by going into the indicators and typing up pi cycle and then clicking on this indicator here at the top. And this shows quite clearly that the two lines are going to be meeting very, very shortly, and we've been predicting anywhere around between August and October this year that these are going to be meeting. Obviously, as I've shown you before, these are the indicators that have been telling us that whenever they actually cross over, as you can see here, That's where the cycle tops are. This cycle top here, and the cross came over here, etc. This cycle top and the cross here. So we're going to be using this indicator to give us the top of where it's going to be going. So with a few corrections obviously along the line, these lines are going to take a little bit of time, but certainly anywhere between where we are now and the end of the year, we're going to be topping off where this orange line, the 111 daily moving average, crosses above the green line. That is the best indicator that we have that tells us the top of this particular bull market. So when we get nearer to that, we'll be obviously telling everybody here at the Wisdom Bites community when is the best time to be getting off the Bitcoin train. What I want to show you now is why I think that the next bear market, remember here at Wisdom Bites, as you know, we've got a 2 to 3 year view of where we are to where we're going to get to. We want to look at exactly what's going to happen in the future as well. And there are indications in the charts that show us around about where we could end up, and we need to plan ahead all the time. Smart people always plan ahead. They don't get too bogged down with the short-term price movements here. So what I want to show you is why this bear market is going to be around about the 42,000 mark once we hit the target of 300,000. There are two methods of working out these prices here. If you look at the chart, the answers are always here. If you look at the first cycle top around here, if you look at the top and the correction for the bear market in that cycle was around about the 93% mark. And if you look at the second cycle around here, from the top to the bottom was around 86% fall in this bear market. The last cycle that we had, at the top of the bull market at 20,000, we came all the way down to this bottom here, and that was a correction of around 84%. Now, if we get to the target of 300,000 and measure approximately 85%, which is the average fall in the previous bull markets and then followed by the bear markets, then you get a price. So if you take it from the target here, 300,000, and you go down 85%, that gives you the target of 42,000. Obviously, if the market tops off, let's say at 250,000, around there, then 85% will take you down a little bit lower to about 35 to 40,000 mark. So these are very good guidelines as to what we can project in terms of our decisions that we can take in the future here. And that's why I have these on my charts, because we're not really too concerned about the little small short-term actions that are happening with the Bitcoin price here. What we want to do is we want to make sure that we get off the Bitcoin train before it tops off around here, so that we can rebuy back at these prices around here, ready for the next cycle. The second method of finding out exactly where the next bear market and the tops of the bull markets are going to be is actually, if you look at the stock to flow ratio here, if you get to the top of this increase here altogether, then you draw a line like this. You can see that the tops of this line is giving you an indication that sometime in the future the price is going to come back and retest these lines here, these levels here. So this is just at the top. Whenever you get this fired up, I showed you this a few months ago actually, when we just had this fire up, and I mentioned that at the top of this, that this is probably going to be the future, and that's where I set the bear market target, because when this fired up, it came to this point here, and that's when I took it across as my bear market target. But the second level here, this is when this fired up in around about December 2012. If you look at the tops of this and take it across, that was showing you where the bottom of the next bear market was going to be. So that's 1, 2 predictions. And the last one, in the last bull market, when this fired up in August 2016, that was telling you that that is the level where the market is going to come back down to these levels here. So when this fired up in May, June time, I showed you this in one of my charts, and this is what I use to set my bear market target. So if you take it across from there, this is telling us that the next bear market level is going to be around about the 40 to 50,000 mark level. The reason why I have this range of the 42 to the 50,000 is simply because if you look at this, you'll notice that the price level does go below this particular line, but it's a very good guide, a very good indication as to where we're going to come after this top off, where we're going to come back down to. So very, very important that we keep this in mind in terms of our target and our bear market target for the next cycle. Gives us a very good overview, a very good big picture perspective in terms of where we're heading in the next 2 to 3 years. The main thing here at Wisdom Bites is to focus on the bigger picture. I know that most YouTube channels will always try and distract you with the shorter term picture over here. And very few, if any, I'm not quite sure if there are many, who actually focus on the larger time frame here, because you don't just want to make a little bit of money here or here. What you want to do is to plan to make the millions of pounds, not the hundreds of pounds or the thousands of dollars. You want to make the millions of dollars. And then when you get to this point here, you want to protect those millions so that you can reinvest the millions here and make even more millions over here. The problem people have is that majority of people, like myself, were not born into wealth. We're always comparing the lack of wealth that our upbringing has brought us, and compared to that, relatively a few $1,000s, a few $100,000 seems a lot of money for most of us. However, we've got to open our minds for the possibilities that we can get the millions, and why not even into the billions of dollars. What is stopping you except yourself? So that's why I'm always trying to get people to think the bigger focus, the bigger picture, the larger time frames. I don't like operating on the 1 hour charts and the 4 hour charts and those types of things. I prefer to look at the weekly charts and the monthly charts that tell us a bigger picture of what's going on. And then you can really make the bigger decisions to make the bigger amounts of money. Okay, so if you've liked that analysis, if you found value in it, then please do remember to like and subscribe if you're new. Okay, having said that, let me have a look at the short-term time frame as well, so that we get the balanced picture of the short-term as well as the long-term. So on the daily chart here, you can see that the bull flag that I drew for you in the last video, this was the pole that we had. This is the bull flag that we've got. And I said that once we break out of here, we're more than likely going to go to the races. Well, we've broken out of this now, and we're now heading towards the previous all-time high of around about the 42,000 mark level. And once we break this 42,000 level here, once we break that, then we can easily go to the 50 and the 60,000 mark. So that's what I wanted to just show you on the shorter term time frame. This bull flag has now been broken. So what I am expecting is for us to get to this level here. If we don't break through, then we'll just be hanging around here before we break through. So as long as we can break through this previous all-time high, then we're good to go towards the $50,000 and $60,000 mark. So let's wait and see. We're nearly there. Okay, to give you the targets for February, very, very simply, I use these pivots, which are very accurate. And in the last video, I said that more than likely for February, we will meet this target of the R1 line, which is 40,000. And I said that when we were just going past here. Now, the reason for R1 line being met, with a high degree of probability is simply because if you look left in the chart, you'll realize historically in the last 7, 8, 9 months now, we always meet the R1 line here. And sometimes we get to the R2 and even R3 lines. So every single month, you see that the R1 line has been met here, over here, and over here, etc., etc. The second line, the second R2 line on the pivots is this line here now at the 48,000 level. Now we've only just started February, we're in the first week of February. So it looks to me as though now that we're coming up to the R1 line here and we're getting a strong bounce from these levels here. There seems to be a lot of momentum that's building up. So the chances are we're more than likely going to hit this R2 line at $48,000. And if the momentum goes much, much more stronger, then the R3 line is definitely within reach. And that's the $55,000 mark, which I've mentioned to you many times before, that once we pass the $42,000 mark here, the next stop is going to be around the $55,000 mark. So let's wait and see what happens with that. If we go to the shorter time frame of the 1 hour, I showed you in the last video this angle volume profile. Basically, I tend to use this for entry positions and exit positions. I mentioned in the last video when the price levels were over here that this is a great buying opportunity. Anything below the angle volume profile, which is this indicator here, it's always a very good time to buy into. So if you're looking for an entry point, use this to get in. Unfortunately, now that the market has moved up to this level here, so this is now getting above, so it's getting a little bit overbought. It doesn't mean that the price isn't going to go much higher and you can't make more money, but this was the best opportunity to actually get in. So as you can see from here, these are the times to actually look to get out of the market, and these times here are the times to actually get into the market. So if you just keep going left, you'll realize that this is a very good indicator. Again here and there. So whenever you see the price below this indicator, then if you're looking for an entry point, that would be a very good time to get in. So you may now have to wait for this to come back down, but that doesn't mean the price isn't going to go much higher. It's just that your profits are going to be less than they would have been if you'd have bought in at these levels here. Some people ask me about how to get this angle volume indicator. Just type in indicator, and if you put in angle, you'll get the angled volume profile here. This is the one I use, the Gamma Zama at 1583 here. So if you click on that, you'll get it all over there. You may have to wait a little bit because there's a lot of information in this, and therefore it takes a little bit of time to actually set into your charts. If you want to support the channel, then please click on any of my videos, and then below the videos you'll find a box called Show More, which gives you a description box, and in that description box is the affiliate link with Etoro that I have. So I partner up with Etoro because that's the main exchange I use for all my investments. These are the reasons why I tend to use Etoro. It's a very simple exchange to use in terms of depositing money and withdrawing the money, as well as trading if that's what you want to do, as well as for long-term investing, which is what I tend to do. So if you want to support the channel, please click on the partnership link, and then what you'll do is you'll get this box here, and then you can basically put your username, email and password and just fill in the form there. If you like any of my videos and you find value in them, then please don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Before I move on to Ethereum, I want to just show you this, as it's very, very interesting. As you know, I've been drawing this pink line here at the 90 level, and I said it would probably correct around that level. So we came back down, and we came back down to this white line. Now we're forming this trend line here, and it's very interesting because you can use this wedge to actually find the exit points, taking profits points, and actually entry points if that is what you want to do. like I said many times, I'm a long-term investor. I'm not going to be doing anything until I get to the top of the market when the exit indicators of the 111 daily moving average crosses the 350 daily moving average. So I'm not going to do anything, but I know quite a lot of my subscribers want to do trading. You could use this wedge as an indicator of when the corrections here are going to be coming along. The end of that wedge is around about November 2021. So it's going to be towards the end of this year. However, as we know with these wedges, they tend to break out around about 3/4 of the way out there. So that fits into our narrative that more than likely we're going to top out at around about the August time here. And obviously this is a bearish wedge. So we're going to be going into it with a higher probability to fall down. So that could be the end of the bull market anywhere around here in August, September, October time. Only time will tell, but certainly you can use this wedge on the RSI as a very good indicator of when the market is a little bit cheaper, i.e. at the bottom of this wedge, and when the market is getting overbought and overextended at the top of this wedge. If you found value in this analysis, then please do remember to like and subscribe if you're new. Okay, on to Ethereum, and in the last video I showed you this monthly chart that we just closed the January candle above the previous all-time high. So this is the highest close we've ever had with Ethereum, and that is a sure sign that we're going higher. I said that once we break this candle, it's only a matter of 3 or 4 weeks before we double up to our next target, which is going to be around about the $3,000 mark here. As you can see, we've already moved up in the last few days from where the candle closed at 1300 to where we are now at 1650, and we've been as high as about 1760, I think. So we're on our way. We're into this parabolic cycle now, and this is our target for the end of this cycle at 21,450. So we're just now starting on there. So it's still a very good opportunity to move in. If you've been with me on this, I've been showing you these pink channels now for about 4 or 5 months. I've been saying to you that once we break this channel here, once we get a monthly close anywhere around here, then we're good to go. And that's exactly what we're doing now. We're on our way to this target within the next 6 to 9 months. I just hope you've been fully invested. Obviously, I can't give you financial advice, but I have been saying to all my subscribers that I've been investing a lot of my funds into Ethereum because the chart just looks absolutely amazing and the future looks even more amazing. Just like Bitcoin, when it broke its previous all-time high with the monthly close, and Bitcoin doubled within 3 to 4 weeks, I'm expecting exactly the same with Ethereum. We'll get to the 3,000 mark within the next 3 to 4 weeks. Finally, I want to actually show you a chart of NEO. Now, it's one cryptocurrency which has been around for many, many years, and I may have mentioned many times to you that I'm invested into NEO, and this is an amazing looking chart which looks like it just wants to break out very, very shortly. Now, why do I say that? I've mentioned this pattern many times with you, this cup and handle. Now look at this chart pattern here. You've got your cup and it's also formed a handle. And now it's coming back to test its neckline here and here. Once we break this with a weekly candle, which we're about to do, I think we're going to do this week. As you can see, we've not yet quite broken with a weekly candle above this neckline. Hopefully we'll break that either today or tomorrow Sunday. Once we do that, we're going to be going off to the races. And this is one which will probably double within the space of about 2 to 4 weeks, no later than that. The reason why I say that is that if you look at a similar crypto asset like Cardano, This is exactly what happened with that. As you can see with Cardano, we had this cup and handle here. That's the cup. This is the handle, just like in Neo. And now, having broken the neckline around here on a weekly candle, look what happened to it. It went from around this price here at 15 to the current price of 54. And that's in just a space of about 4 or 5 weeks. So this chart here for Cardano is virtually the same chart as for Neo here. We're going to be coming up to this neckline, and we can easily see this double and triple very, very quickly within the space of a few weeks. This is not financial advice, of course, but if you want to monitor this, please look out, keep your eye on Neo. It's going to go to around about 40.50 within the next few weeks. I'll keep doing a review for you on this, and then you can see. Okay, so we'll wrap it up there. Thank you once again for watching. Much appreciated. I hope you found a lot of value in this video. I've tried to show you quite a lot of the Bitcoin, quite an insight into the Ethereum, and I've also given you an opportunity of looking into this particular crypto, which is about to go parabolic very, very shortly in the next few weeks. If you found value in this video, then please do remember to like and subscribe and to turn on the notification bell. And if you want to leave any comments, questions or suggestions, then please leave them in the comments below and share with us whatever your thoughts are about what I've presented to you in this video, as well as thoughts about Bitcoin, Ethereum or anything else. Until the next time, take care, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.